All right. Good morning to Thursday, April the 13th phone call. Thank you very much, everyone, for your love yesterday, your energy healing, and all that. I feel amazing, which is always, that's not surprising, but I'm always surprised, even though I shouldn't be in awe of the magic of our body. So, magic of our body. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, there was some huge transformation that happened within this situation. As always, I think that's right, really. Everything happens on purpose, right? There's no accidents, no coincidences in the world, including obstacles and challenges that we might face, right? It's a whole idea. So it feels great. Um, I want to dive a little bit into my metaphysical training again, the text that I'm studying from, and talk about self-belief. So again, I'm not necessarily thinking the content might be new for everybody, but reframed and using different verbiage than I've used with you in the past. And so what I love about the direction of this text, so I'll use it from that perspective, from a studying perspective, is the directness of the words. For example, the opinion you have of yourself is either making you or breaking you, right? And so there is no gray. And so it's kind of like either you're pregnant or you're not pregnant, right? So, it's either making you or break. There's like no like right, halfways with this. And we can also take that and look at the decisions that we make on a regular basis. I believe always move us forward, even if the path kind of looks like a winding path versus a linear path. I think it's also important to ask, when you're setting, so if we're setting goals or intentions, we can use the strategy of, I have this vision for my life and my business, and I'm taking inspired action. And then on a regular basis, I do it weekly. So my Sundays are all about a reflection of, were the decisions that I made, the actions that I took, did they move me towards my intention, my goal, or did it move me maybe away from? Now, I believe that even the away from is a way for me to get where I'm going, but it keeps me focused on the intention, on the end goal, right? So that I personally, Ranchal, don't get distracted by the bright, shiny object syndromes, right? Because that's something, because I see opportunity in everything. And so I had to find a way to construct my life where there might be an opportunity and I don't have to necessarily take it, right? And so that's why on a weekly basis, I revisit, like, what did my week look like this week? And if I felt like on Sunday, I review and go, this decision, this action, rather than doing this, took me away, then I'll go, okay, did it really take me away? Or was it, I was meant to go off what I think is a linear path, take an opportunity to maybe learn something? There was an obstacle, there was a challenge, because again, my belief system is everything happens for me and nothing happens to me. So I don't believe that there's a wrong way. There's just a way, and it helps my brain focus by just doing a review, right? What did that look like, so that I can avoid the bright shiny object syndrome. And so when we go back to this piece of, the opinion you have yourself is making you or breaking you. So here's what they proverbial they say, so ask yourself, so this is about your opinion of yourself, is it constructing your life or destroying your life? So is it constructing your life or destroying your life? Is it bringing you greater power, with which to face the struggles of each day, or is it causing you to falter and fall? So your opinion of yourself, is it bringing you greater power, or is it having you falter or fall? A reminder that the opinion you have of yourself at this moment is making your present day happier, or is it resulting in a day, and they use the word of depression, right? So the opinion you have of yourself at this moment, is it making your present day happier, or I would use the word or not, right? I don't relate to the word depression. I don't know what that is, although depression's in my family. I don't think I've had that. I certainly would, I could use words like, is it resulting in self-doubt? Right, that's what I would use for me. Is it resulting in worry? Is it resulting in fear? Is it resulting in anger? Like, I would use different words than depressed or depression. But the context of it is the opinion I have myself at this moment, right? Is it making me happier? Do I feel joy? Do I feel peace? Do I feel serenity? Or not? And this is the power of self-belief, right? And so then if we can accept the premise that what you believe about yourself is affecting you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically more than anything else in your life that you've ever meet, for the greatest encounter of life is when we come face to face with ourselves. So the greatest encounter is when we come face to face with ourselves. So I call this like my radical honesty piece, right? And just being aware of what are some limiting thoughts that I might have, right? I had one that came up today, which is really amazing, and in complete vulnerability, sharing it with the group here, which kind of hit me like, smacked it like a 2x4 across the head, which is um, someone talking about getting paid really well to speak. And then I realized that I have a limiting capacity, a limiting belief that's possible, meaning that people don't get paid to speak, paid really well to speak. And then I paused. I thought, that's really funny because of what I do. So number one. And number two, I know people. Like I've met Jack Canfield. I've met Lisa Nichols, who both get paid, $35,000 to speak on stage. And so became apparent to me that I have a false belief that I can't get paid $35,000 to speak. Now, could I get paid $35,000 to speak? There'd be like today, there'd be a whole bunch of yeah buts around that, authentically, being vulnerable with you. And it was interesting for me to realize that block, right, has been there for a long time. So when we're open to receiving the messages of what's stopping me, what's blocking me, what's preventing me, what are the false beliefs, and asking the universe to show you where and what the false beliefs are, the universe absolutely will respond to that question. Now, notice how I didn't ask myself why, because it's going to go back into the recesses of my past and give me all of the false beliefs. That's the reason why. What I'm looking for is the awareness of what false belief do I have, right? And so what you believe about yourself is affecting you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so if we can look at that and go, what parts of my personality, what parts of my false beliefs do I need to address? Right? And you may not know that, but you could ask the universe, and the universe will be happy to point it out. And so I now ask the universe to be clear, to be concise, and I'd like it to be gentle. Because my life up until probably the age of, I'd say 45, it was 2x4s across one's head, right? So so it felt this way. It was like this moment, but it didn't hurt. Where a lot of my past has been like, I'm in so much pain now, I see. So I ask for the opportunities to see without the attached pain. right? So we can ask for that. We can ask for what we want, right? And so every person on this earth, while still conscious and able to think, has an opinion about himself. And some of these beliefs are true, however, the majority are false. And the reason for this is the prevailing lack of knowledge in the world today. So this is what the metaphysics text is sharing with us. It's based on man's immaturity. I loved this. Yes, the reality is that man as a whole has simply not matured. 3/4 of the world's population live in mass ignorance with little or no education, right? So 3/4 of the earth, right up right now, even in the US, the world leader in education at the time of this writing, 30 million of our own population of over 200 million. So I'm not sure when this text was written, are classed as illiterate by the latest federal government census. We must also realize that even those who are educated by our current standards are lacking in self-education, right? We might be educated, in school, but there's this lack of self-education. They believe in the thinking of the majority. So here's the key. And thus are taught to believe in themselves based on man's limited view of himself. So we can take this one step forward. Our view of ourselves is based on our parents' view of ourselves, or the people that were an influence. So teachers, parents, grandparents, siblings, maybe BFFs, right? So we took in from the age of 0 to 7, we're a big sponge, and we accept everything that our parents tell us or feel about us. We are empathic in nature, even if we don't know it. So we will energetically pick up on what our families feel about our characteristics. So we could say that be our strengths and or our weaknesses, and we will accept those as the truth without question, right? And it's the way that our human mind was designed, being a big sponge. At the 7 and beyond, we can start to look at it and start to question. However, I'm not sure what environment you were raised in, but I was raised in an environment where you didn't question your parents. Like your parents were like the law, like they knew everything. Don't question me. I'm your mom, or I'm your dad, or I'm your grandfather. And this is the way that it is because I said that this is the way that it is. And so if you grew up in that environment, chances are your parents grew up in that environment, right? And so it's just kind of passed on from generation to generation that this is just the way that it is. And so what we believe about ourselves cannot be attained from either from current academic teachings, because they don't teach us to self-reflect, right? Not the education system doesn't necessarily do that. And our parents in general, like this is not going to apply to everyone, did not teach us to self-reflect on, is that true for me? Right? So, so my parents, their experience of me was that I was a great starter and I wasn't a great finisher. And so, I carried that burden. I'll use that. It felt like a burden for years, and probably up until last year, still had a little bit of residual judgment on myself about I'm a great starter, but I'm not a great finisher. And I questioned that. The first time I questioned that was years ago when I did a telesummit. Like, that's how long ago, right? So a virtual online summit, but not with Zoom, but with a telesummit, like a 1-800 number, right? And it wasn't a 1-800 number, but it was like a 1-800 number. And I remember completing the task and thinking that my mom and dad said that I wasn't a great finisher, but look at I finished it. And the summit was successful in the sense of I completed it, but it wasn't successful in the sense of what I thought I would reap financially from it. And so a long time ago, I would have called that a failure. Even during that time, I didn't call it a failure. I learned lots. I learned lots about what I needed to do differently. I learned lots about my personality. I learned lots about marketing, et cetera, et cetera. And so what stories are you carrying from your parents that you still believe are true today, right? Because that's their experience of you, but that doesn't mean that's the truth. That's their experience of you. That is not necessarily the truth. And in fact, I would bet you $100, right? It's not the truth, right? And so what we want to do is turn this around and to a place of having what you believe about yourself coming from the experience of learning the highest possible truth about yourself, highest with a capital H, meaning the connection to divine source energy, right? The high truth, which is the truth that man should live by, states that you are essentially pure, divine, and universal through the presence of God, your creator, abiding within you. So the truth is, right? So in my language, I say, we are all a fractal energy of divine. What they're saying here, the words that they're using, that you are essentially pure, divine, and universal through the presence of God, your creator, abiding within you. That's the truth. So, right, would we say that, I'll use my example, would we say that God, higher power, creator, is a great starter, but not a great finisher? Well, I don't know, he built the world in 7 days. We could use that as an analogy, whether we believe in that or not, right? But we can start to think about these things, right, from that perspective. Whether it was the Big Bang Theory or God that created the Milky Way, is it complete? Well, I don't know, I haven't been there. But looks kind of complete to me, right? So great finisher, great starter, great finisher kind of thing. So we can take some of those lies that we were raised with, and lies in the sense of it doesn't reflect the truth of who you are at the higher level, right? And so the choice of what you believe about yourself is yours, whether it's restricted with limitations or unlimited with God. So I love this. It reminds us again of how powerful we are in our decisions and in our choices, right? And so really reflecting today when you have the self-talk, to like, is that my belief? Like, is that what I believe about myself? Or was that passed on, to me? Even like what we would want as a character assets, right? So, my mom said to me once, you are the kindest, most loyal person I've ever met in my life. She said the capacity that you have, Ranchelle, to love people where they're at, to accept them where they're at, to know that you're the friend that people call. They might not call you for 25 years, and they would call you and say, I need you, and you'd say, where are you? Which is true. But I had to look at that. Am I kind? Is that something I would, right? I don't like labels, but would I use that to describe myself? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. I'm super kind and super loyal. And there, of course, like everything else, there's the light, positive side to that. There's a shadow side to that. I stay in relationship way longer than I probably, air quote, should, right? Because of that kindness and that belief in looking at, right, the truth of where people are at, giving them the benefit of the doubt, perhaps maybe when other people wouldn't, right? So but we can there's affirmations that we can use to help us reframe our self-belief, to not believe the limiting lies that we have, but also to be in awareness of what are the false beliefs we have about ourselves that are preventing us from moving in the direction that we desire, or stalling it, or like making it sticky, or right. I think we're meant to move at whatever pace we are meant to move, but I don't think it has to be slow. If it's slow, it's slow. So again, English words are difficult to describe this. So it's like, you can't make a wrong decision. You can't fuck this up. You can't, right? This is life. It's a journey. And every decision that you make is perfect in the moment of time because you're making it with all of the information you have at the time. If you want a different outcome, then what needs to change, transform, is you, is your thoughts, is your beliefs, your understanding, your ability to take action, right? Because you are the cause. You are the cause of everything. Everything out there in your environment is the effect of you. That's how powerful you are. And when we can grasp that, we'll know how powerful our words are, our feelings are, our emotions are, because we're emitting a frequency. We'll go back to the frequency piece, right? So there are things that you can, statements that you can use to remind you of how powerful you are. So I'll give you a couple that are here in my textbook. So one is, I really like this one. I believe in myself, for I believe that divine is within me. I believe in myself for I believe that divine is within me. So that one resonates with me at a really high level, right? I believe the power of my mind to accomplish when it's associated with the identity of God's universal mind. This one for me was mind-blowing, right? I believe in the power of my mind to accomplish when it's associated with the identity of God's universal mind. This was powerful for me because when I realized when I didn't accomplish or achieve, it was because I was not looking at things through my divine mind. My personality, right? My ego, my id, my I was driving the bus. And when that happens, that's usually my wounded child. So that's my 2-year-old, my 6-year-old, or my rebel 13-year-old driving the bus. And so there are consequences to having a child drive the bus, right? But if I move into my divine mind, things unfold magically, right? Even experiences like I had on Tuesday, although I was afraid for my life, and truly I also knew that I was experiencing this for a reason. So I was an awareness of the fear, and I was awareness of I didn't blow off my intuition and say, you're just making this up, you're overreacting. I was like, nope, I'm in trouble. Like I'm in trouble here. And I knew that I also, everything happened for a reason, and that I would utilize this particular situation in my teaching, and that I was experiencing it for a reason. Um, and, Van, we can look at, he created it to be me there because I held it together and tried to, not reason, there's no reasoning with voices in the head, but kept the situation super, super calm so that it wasn't any worse than what it was. And so we can take experiences like that, and everyone's experiences will be different, and honor the feeling and the emotion, and know that it's happening for me, not to me, and the faith, there's tons of faith there that I would be okay. So real feelings of my life is in danger, and faith, I will be okay. And being able then to take that information and process that. Now, how does this apply to you? Is that when we're in our divine self, that's what happens. We have faith in, like, this situation totally sucks and everything happens for a reason. So it's the polarization, right? The polarization of experience. And so The next guide to self-belief. Uh, I believe that I can accomplish what I wish to because I believe that God, as the highest area of my mind, is the true doer of all things. Again, substitute the word God. So basically, I can accomplish anything because really and truly, what's happening is divine is working through me. All right, the divine is working through me. So if I stay in that place where I, connect to divine, guide me as to what to do, right? Use my physical body to do the things that we are here to create. So living on purpose, with purpose, in purpose, it's like, what's next? So my personality doesn't need to decide what's next. Again, because, right, she's a Scorpio and she's, like she can be vindictive and she can be kind of manipulative, and right. So for those any Scorpios, right? But the divine Scorpio, she's like loyal and right. So I'm being playful with all of you, but to show you that how we can embody this work, right? Because this is what this is really about, right? Is taking what we know to be true and practicing on a daily basis how to embody what you know the truth is. Because it's one thing to say it, and I've been there, done that. One thing to say it, and then the next thing to apply it or embody it. And I think our true spiritual development, our true spiritual growth comes when we embody it. Karen was talking about embodying the frequency, right? Huge, huge. Here's another one I absolutely love. I believe that there is no such thing as sin, only human error. Right now, we can remove the word sin if it triggers you, but I believe there is no such thing as sin, only human error brought about through the ignorance of nature's laws, which are God's laws. As such, I see and believe myself always to be purely divine. Now you could also take the word sin and go, there's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as a mistake. Right? Hanshell's words, you can't fuck this up. And this is a much nicer way of saying that, right? But I always say I say to the kids all the time, you can't make a mistake. You can have an error in thinking, but whatever decision you make is the right decision for you at that time, or you would make a different decision. Right. So when we can honor that within ourselves, right, then we don't have to be afraid of making the wrong decision, because there's no such thing as a wrong decision. There's not a right decision. There's not a wrong decision. There's a decision. And even not making a decision is a decision. I'm choosing to be indecisive. Okay, cool. Right. But if we really can accept that you can't mess this up, nothing to align yourself to. You are in alignment with whatever you're in alignment with at the time, but you can choose to be in alignment with whatever frequency you want to be in alignment with, right? So if I want to, so I'm choosing to be in the frequency of love, right? I'm going to emit love, empathy, right? Strength, right? Endurance, whatever that looks like for you. Right? Prosperity, abundance, wealth, right? Passion, purpose. And there's so many great words out there that we could emit the frequency of. Even if you don't know what that frequency would be, your body does. Your body knows what that frequency is. So you don't have to worry about, well, what does that frequency look like? Right? Just you can just feel into it. And the last one that I love, that I'll share with you, is I believe that the highest portion of my mind is in a united oneness with the universal mind of God. So I would use the word divine, right? So I believe that the highest portion of my mind is in a united oneness with the universal divine source energy. I believe. And so the feelings of the empowerment of I believe, right? Those are such strong words. I believe. Right? It kind of goes along with the strength of this is a false belief. Right? This is a false belief that I'm not a great starter. I'm a great starter, not a great finisher. It's a false belief that I'm not enough. Right? It's a false belief that I can't figure shit out. It's a false belief that I'm not great at technology. Now, there might be some truth to that, right? And it's not that I'm not great at technology. It just takes me a little bit longer to figure it out. And actually, I just don't want to figure it out. So what people say is, look, I'm not good at that. What they're really saying is, and that they might not feel that they're good at that, which there could be some truth to that, but there's probably a deeper truth, right? So this is how important the energy of the words that we use are. So, all right. Once again, time has flown by. Crazy how fast the mornings go. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I shall see you all tomorrow on Friday. Big hugs. Mwah. Love you all.